I've got a 9-year-old kid and he wants to record PlayStation 3 gameplay onto his computer so he can upload it to YouTube. Does that sound simple? It sounds simple to me, but it's not actually that straightforward. If you were on a PC, it'd be a lot easier. Because we're using a console, it's not that easy. I think part of the fact is that if you're on a PlayStation 3, Sony don't really allow you to record 1080p video footage through HDMI onto a computer. I'm not going to go into the whys and hows of this, they just don't allow it. So you have to get around it. And to get around that, you need one of these. It's called a 1x2 HDMI splitter. They're quite cheap, I mean this was less than £10. Okay, so you need one of them. And everything I show you, I'll leave a link in the description below. Next thing you're going to need is 3 HDMI cables. And the length of these cables is going to depend on your setup. You'll have to work that one out for yourself. But anyway, this HDMI splitter, it will come with a power cord. Either a plug on the end which plugs into the mains, or as in this case it comes with a USB. Simple. Plug the power into it, and as in this one will plug into the back of the computer, or you can plug it into, if you've got one of them sockets with a USB on it, you know, plug socket with a USB, you know what I mean anyway. So, we'll take our first HDMI cable and we will put that into our input of our splitter, and the other end of this HDMI cable will go into your PlayStation 3. I'll show you when I get it all connected up in a minute, but yeah, this end into the PlayStation 3, this end into the splitter, this one to your power. The output of your splitter, there's 2 outputs, we only need to use one. You get your second HDMI cable and plug it into your output. It doesn't matter which one you put it into, it'll work through either one. Now this is the expensive part. This end of the HDMI cable goes into your input of your Elgato game capture unit, as you can see. These cost about £120, but as I was saying, these work. They do the job, and that's what you want it to do. Hassle free, just get the job done. It's going to cost you £120, but it will work, and that's what matters. So on the output of your Elgato Game Capture HD, you have one power lead or USB cable which will go into your computer, USB socket. The lead coming from your output of your Elgato capture unit will go into the back of your TV set, providing your TV set's got a HDMI connection. Most flat screen TVs these days do. So as long as you ain't got an old black and white, you're all right. So yeah, output of the Elgato into your TV. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect all this back up to the TV set, show you my setup. Well, not actually my kid's setup, because I don't actually play the PlayStation anymore myself, but I have to get involved in this to keep him happy. So anyway, I shall go upstairs and show you what else we've got to do. Right, now I'm here with our setup. We've got a PlayStation 3, TV screen and a computer. You need all these components to make it work, but this is what you got to have these days. So the first thing you want to do before you connect anything up, have your PlayStation connected to your TV with your HDMI lead, and basically if you go into your settings, okay, and go down to display settings, I hope you can see this. Well, press X in display settings and go down, video output settings, and change it to component/D terminal. If you don't do that, it won't work. Okay, I know it shows a picture of the wrong connectors, but that's what you need to change it to for this system to work, and it will work, trust me. Okay, so now what we're going to do, I'm going to connect all this up and then I'll show you it working. Okay, so I've got a HDMI lead in my hand. The other end of this lead is connected up to the PlayStation 3, and this lead here will go to the input of our splitter. Put that right way around, yep, like that. Okay, this will now go into our power source, which can be the back of the computer, but in my case I've got a wall socket of a USB plug in it, so that's what I'll power it up with. And this HDMI lead coming out of the splitter goes to the input of our Elgato unit. The output of our Elgato unit, this lead here, will go to the TV, and the USB will go to the USB in the back of the computer. So I'll just connect this up. Right, that's all connected up now. If you've got any cable management going on, you might want to look into it, because there are quite, I mean, with 3 HDMI cables and the other leads, it's quite a lot of cabling. You have to hide them somewhere, don't you? Right, now, PlayStation is now switched on. From the Elgato website, you'll have to download their software, but if you buy the Elgato capture unit, it'll have on the packaging the website you've got to go to download their software. And I shall launch their software now, which is here. Bring that round so we can see a bit better. And as you can see, it's now displaying what's on the PlayStation. I'm not going to go too much into this because it comes with instructions and it's pretty self-explanatory. But the one thing you do need to do is where it says here Elgato Game Capture HD, Preferences, Input Device, you need to set it to Xbox 360. Once again, I don't need to go into the why you have to do that. Just believe me, it works. And obviously input is HDMI and you want it as 1080p, allow 60 frames per second, but on a PlayStation 3 with this particular Elgato it will only record at 30 frames per second in 1080p, but it's still pretty good. Okay, they have got a newer model out which is a lot more money, which will do 60 frames a second, but for this model it's 30 frames a second. So basically there's other tutorials on how this software works, but it's all pretty straightforward. You've got a capture button here, you press it, lights up red, now it is recording. It will record it to a folder on your computer, and when you're done you can then do what you like with it, edit it, whatever. You can do live streaming off this. It's pretty good actually, but that's it, and it will record in 1080p from the PlayStation. And if I go back to these preferences again, yeah, you've got a quality slider here and you can set the quality to where you like. Now I've got it set to like 3/4 of the way up. You can set it to all the way up. If you set it to all the way up, it'll be about 30 megabytes a second it'll be recording at, and it will be nice and sharp, and you can always sharpen it up a bit more in post if you like. But I've got it set to about 24.5 megabytes a second, and the game footage is pretty damn good, nice and clear. It's just how you want it. When you put it on YouTube, you want your game footage to be nice and crisp and clear so people can see it, and as long as you get your audio right as well, it makes a good little package. But anyway, that's it. I know it's going to cost a few bob, but what doesn't, eh? Okay, till the next time. Adios.